One of the most symbolic parts of the Passover Seder is found right in the middle of our tables, the Seder plate. The Seder plate has been used at Passover Seders for thousands of years and contains items that have symbolic meaning in the retelling of the Exodus story. However, Passover is also an opportunity to discuss modern-day social justice themes, and additions can be made to further symbolize the holiday. Let's take a look around the traditional Seder plate. Karpas, the parsley. The parsley is dipped in salt water during the Seder to remind us of the tears shed during the time of slavery. Maror, the bitter herbs. Usually horseradish, the bitter herbs are eaten to remind us of the bitterness and harshness of the slavery that we endured in Egypt. Charoset, a Passover favorite made of apples, wine, and sometimes chopped nuts, the charoset symbolizes the mortar used to build the Egyptian pyramids. Zeroah, the shank bone. The shank bone is symbolic of the lamb offered as the Passover sacrifice in biblical times. Beitzah, the egg. The egg symbolizes another of the festival sacrifices from biblical times, as well as the coming of spring. Those are the traditional interpretations of the Seder plate, but there are also many other ways to look at these items. The parsley can also be a symbol of springtime, and dipping it into salt water can also symbolize the tears we still have now. Not everyone is free, and modern-day slavery still exists in our time. The shank bone is on the Seder plate, but is the only item that when we talk about it, we do not lift it up. This can be interpreted as a symbol of our ambivalence, both towards the practice of sacrifice in general, but also to the lamb used to mark the doors of Jewish households during the 10th plague, the slaying of the firstborn. The ambivalence we show toward the shank bone reminds us of the sadness we feel about this 10th plague. There are recent additions to the Seder plate and table that have been added to symbolize inclusion in light of modern-day social injustices. The most well-known of these additions is adding an orange to the Seder plate. This custom began in the early 1980s by Susanna Heschel, daughter of Jewish activist Abraham Joshua Heschel, to symbolize solidarity with members of the Jewish community who were traditionally marginalized, originally gay and lesbian Jews. Heschel describes the orange as a symbol for the fruitfulness of all Jews when all Jews can be active and participating members of Jewish life. Another custom is to add a cup of water next to Elijah's cup. This cup, known as Miriam's cup, celebrates her role in the Exodus from Egypt and time wandering in the desert. By placing Miriam's cup next to Elijah's, we recognize that women have been and always will be equally integral to the survival of the Jewish community. Seder traditions and the Seder plate have been a part of Judaism for hundreds of years and yet are always evolving. Families may add other objects to their Seder plate or tables that have personal meaning for them. What might you and your family add this year? Chag Sameach!